Hey friends, it's Missy, and I am so happy to be with you today. We are going live to talk about anxious thoughts and thinking and overthinking. So whether you are here live today or you catch the replay, I would love to know that you're here. Drop some support for each other, even here in the comments, and let's dive in. What does it mean to be able to really manage your anxious thoughts and thinking? So I do have some notes over here. So if you see me looking left, that is why I'm doing that. And honestly, as a therapist and a coach, I think I talk to people about this every single day. Our minds, sometimes it feels like they have a mind of their own. How many of you have had an anxious thought or an anxious day and you're like, I want this to stop, and you can't seem to get it to stop? I want you to know that that's pretty normal. So if you ever have felt like your brain has been running the meetings and that you never agreed to these meetings, you are probably in the right place. That is really what anxiety feels like. It feels like your brain has been hijacked. And I want you to know that it is incredibly normal. But hopefully by the end of this video, you will have a few ideas on how to quiet the noise and manage what is going on in your brain just a little bit better. Okay, so first, let's talk about how to reduce self-judgment so that you can even learn this and it sticks. So first of all, anxiety is not weakness. I think a lot of times we think, oh, if we're anxious, I'm not okay. Like, what's wrong with me? There must be something super wrong with me. But honestly, anxiety is often a protective thing that our brain and our body has in place to keep us safe. So I don't know how much you know about the brain and the nervous system, but we have fight, flight, or freeze. These are often really common responses when our nervous system is overwhelmed. And those responses are meant to keep us safe. What happens though is if we experience chronic stressors, we can kind of get stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. So we're going to talk a little bit today about how to turn that down. So overthinking and anxious overthinking is really your brain's way of keeping you safe, believe it or not. It's just that at this point, it's no longer helpful when it becomes chronic. So it's not trying to sabotage you, I promise. But you do have to learn some ways to put the brakes on. So more than anything, I want you to know that you're not broken and that you're wired for survival. We are all wired for survival. So that's that fight or flight that sometimes you have trouble turning off. So your brain isn't trying to ruin your life, I promise, but you do have to learn to manage your nervous system so that you can run your life instead of your brain hijacking your everyday life. So let's talk about naming the pattern and building awareness about the overwhelm. So anxious thoughts often lead to familiar loops. Maybe you're familiar with some of these, the what ifs or the woulda, coulda, shouldas. I tell people all the time when they say, well, I should have done this, or I should have done that, or I could have done this. I always say, first of all, shoulds are shame. And shame is not something that is going to move you forward in your mental health, in your business, at your job, as a parent, as a spouse. The shoulds often cause more conflict, whether that be internal or interpersonal, and they aren't going to help you very much. We're going to talk a little bit about how to shift away from that. How about worst case scenario thinking? I don't know about you all, but I am the queen of catastrophic thinking. If there is something that could possibly go wrong, I have probably imagined it. And then a third way that overwhelm can show up is we're kind of trying to read everybody's minds all the time. Well, I am pretty sure she doesn't like me, or I'm pretty sure my boss is mad at me, or my kid didn't respond to my text today, so they must not love me or like me today. When our anxious thoughts take over, most of the time, right, those are not rooted in truth. They're rooted in a nervous and anxious reaction. So what if, though, instead of you put yourself down for thinking these negative things, you got curious? I have a saying that if we could live our lives from a space of curiosity and grace, we could change the world, and you can change your life, and you can change the way you think. Curiosity is super important. I want you to be able to, instead of condemning yourself and the negative thoughts that you're having, I want you to think, you know what? This is just my anxious brain thinking. So I want you to silently name the loop that you get caught in the most often, whether that be the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, or the what ifs, or the catastrophic thinking, or the mind reading. What is it that shows up for you the most often? Because you got to name it to basically redirect it. If I am not aware of it, I can't change it. Now, that being said, naming it's not enough. So once you name it and you have some recognition, you do have to work on calming your body. Hey, Courtney. Hi, Bridget. Welcome. Good to see you ladies here. Logic does not work when your nervous system is activated. So let's say something has triggered you. Honestly, y'all, I'm not a big fan of the word triggered. I would rather hear you say, I felt activated, because that's really what's happening is when we get overwhelmed and stressed and anxious, our nervous system has been activated. And sometimes, like I said, if you've had a lot of stress, if you've had a lot of anxiety and worry, or if you've had traumatic experiences, that fight or flight system gets activated really, really easily. But the good news is that it can be retrained, but it takes time. So anxiety starts in the body, not in the mind, believe it or not. So I want to teach you one quick grounding tool today to help you work on calming your body so that you can deal with what's going on in your brain. So I want you to put both feet on the floor flat. And honestly, I tell people this is literally grounding. I want your feet on the ground. Better yet, if you can take your shoes off and dig your toes into the carpet, or depending on the time of year that you happen to listen to this or the part of the country you're in, you could even go and put your feet in the grass. That's like the ultimate grounding experience. And then I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to slowly inhale through your nose, not through your chest, but through your nose, to the count of 4. So go ahead and take that deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4. And at the top of that breath, I want you to hold it to the count of 6, and I'll count that for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I want you to slowly exhale out through your mouth, very slowly. You can count if you want to, but I really just want you to feel your shoulders drop. I want you to unclench your jaw and let that air out. Let's try one of those one more time without me counting, and I'm just going to give you space to do it. So go ahead and breathe in through your nose. I'll let it out. And if it helps you, shake out your hands at the end. This is one simple way to get your body grounded so that you can deal with what's going on in your brain. So when your body feels safer, this is when your thoughts are going to start to lose their edge. So let's talk about my final point for this learning today, which is this. I want you to work towards replacing or diffusing a negative thought, not suppressing it. Honestly, sometimes replacing can be super difficult, especially if you're overly activated. So I also like the idea of diffusing, and I've been using this word picture with clients lately. I love essential oils and using a diffuser. If you've never used a diffuser, basically you put a little bit of water inside this little machine that you get, and then a few drops of your favorite essential oil. I love lavender because it helps me chill out. Some people like to use things like eucalyptus or peppermint to brighten them up and help them focus. But you put those into the diffuser, you put the cap on it, you plug it in, you press start, and it starts to diffuse those water molecules and the essential oils into the air. So I want you to imagine putting this thought that is not helping you, that is not serving you, that is derailing your day, putting it into a diffuser, and letting it be diffused into the air. Here's the thing. When I diffuse those oils, I can't catch those little particles in the air. They are diffused. They are gone. I cannot catch them. And that's the thing with diffusing a thought. We have to try to diffuse it, not hold on to it. When we hold on to it, we reinforce the anxiety. Once I diffuse it, then I can start to move away from it using mindfulness, using my values. What is it that I most need to focus on today? What's going to be the most valuable to me? Or what can I be the most intentional about today to move me away from this thought that is no longer serving me today? For example, if I'm having the thought of, I cannot finish this project. I'm going to fail. I suck. I cannot do this. That's not going to help me get my project done. I don't care if that's cleaning the living room up or if it's preparing a presentation for work. Either way, that thought is not helping me. If I can put it in that diffuser and let it go, the things that are going to help me most today, the thing that I can do mindfully is move towards the thing that I need to get done. So if it's preparing that presentation, I'm going to set the stage so I can be successful. I am going to clear the clutter from my desk and from my mind. I am going to do some grounding exercises so that I can get present in the moment. And then I like to set a Pomodoro timer even for 25 minutes or 10 minutes just to get me to focus and to lock in on what I need to get done. So how does this really play out in your everyday life? Let's kind of wrap this up. Overthinking or anxiety, it's because my brain has kind of been hijacked. It's not being controlled, and I need to calm my nervous system so that I can get to my brain. I'm going to work on grounding exercises. And y'all, if you don't like breathing, that's okay. Turn on some great music, go for a walk, get up and do some jumping jacks, anything that gets you out of your mind and into your body. And then remind yourself that you have to practice these, guys. You aren't going to listen to this 15-minute talk and be magically able to stop all of your negative thinking. It takes practice because the brain wires to fire, and so you might have to rewire your brain a bit. So on my next live, when we meet next week, I'm going to talk more about this and how you can rewire your brain so that you can be more productive and more engaged in your day today. If you're watching this and you have questions or you want to connect, please send me a message, drop me a message below or through my DMs. You also probably know how to find me on my socials if you are already in this group. My prayer for you today is that you take time to get grounded, that you take those big deep breaths, and that you tackle whatever it is you need to get done today